Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast with me, Ben Tallon, illustrator and creativity coach, founder of the Creative Condition, artist and writer. I bring 20 years of creative industry experience and a lifelong love of creativity, a fundamental pillar of human happiness, to you through ongoing personal exploration and the shared experiences of others. You'll get a nourishing mix of creative industry professionals and people far and wide using creativity in ways that can take our learning to the next level so we can maximise our unique blend. The show's been supported from day one by Illustration X, a tremendous illustration agency representing a shining global roster of illustrators and animators over at illustrationx.com. The music for the show is by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on all good streaming services. And for everything else, for my coaching, resources and inspiration, head to thecreativecondition.com. Morning guys, welcome to The Creative Condition. My name is Ben Tallon. This is the Brew Brain Dump. It's been a while, not done these for a while, but it's a Monday morning. I'm sitting here with a red bush. Yep, I've quit caffeine. That complicates things for you and I in these conversations, doesn't it? I never had caffeine for the kick. Do you know what I mean? I just like the taste. So it's out the window. It's part of the ongoing battle on a neurological level to calm the fuck down and stop being so anxious. Not that I'm anxious all the time, but I've been having way too many episodes this year, as I've mentioned many times on this show. I think a combination of being exhausted as a parent and my defences being down, global influences, quiet times with work. Any illustrators out there will hear me on that, I'm sure. And the rest of it. And I've been doing a lot of groundwork. I've been listening to The Way Out Is In, which is a glorious little podcast based on mindfulness, Buddhism and all that stuff. I grew up with a mum who was into Buddhism and went to meditation sessions. So I've always been curious about that way of thinking about impermanence and all that, which is part of the reason I'm coming to you today. So before I go any further, thank you to Illustration X for sponsoring the show, as ever. They've been here since day one, 10 years ago. Thank you to all you long-term listeners, and welcome if you're new. This is just a quick snap. Little brew, sat here with my little brew. We have a conversation. It's a bit of a rambly one. It's a bit of a thought of the day type thing. I do them semi-regular, irregular, whatever you like, interspersing the guest and the long-form diary reading episodes, which is what makes up the Creative Condition. This ongoing exploration of human creativity from every possible angle. So I'm coming to talk to you today with a little nettle sting on my leg. And I'm in that kind of weird mindset at the moment. Maybe it's a midlife crisis. I'm 42 and maybe I'm looking for deeper meaning in things or less meaning in things. You know what I mean? Whatever frees you up to be more content in the moment, going with that whole impermanence thing. So I went on the dog walk this morning. There's a long boardwalk along the River Avon in Salisbury where I live. And I've been going on longer walks there in the morning since we've had this hot summer and warm autumn as we're entering now. It's been lovely. So I've been taking the dog, and to be honest, I'll do it come rain or shine because I love, there's something liberating about just getting up and out in the morning and just getting out there in the elements. So I've been taking the dog up there, and I'm a bit of an obsessive litter picker. I can't stand it. Hate when you go on country walks and you see Coke cans and you see McDonald's wrappers and all that stuff in the water. I think it's disgusting. It's a real indictment of capitalism and the ugly side of humans, the selfishness and the lack of consideration and lack of attunement with the environment. I find it really ugly. So I end up with handfuls of litter, and I often forget to take out a bag to collect this stuff. And my wife's like, yeah, have some more sanitizer. But I just think it's horrible. So I try to take action with these things that I feel strongly about. And this is a part of my thinking today. So I've been reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I mean, head gone stuff. 2,000 plus years ago, this was written by, the Roman emperor, who was also a philosopher, I believe the only one. And his book, Meditations, is just mind-blowing stuff. Thinking about all that stuff, thinking about impermanence, thinking about being a part of the whole, and using that as a tool to not get hung up on the minutiae of our lives, other than to enjoy the moment and do the work you were put on this earth to do. Now, this isn't going down a religious path or anything like that. I don't really have one belief system. I'm just in awe of nature. I know I belong to it. I know you do. We all do. We can't deny that. We're all made up of the same stuff. And so here's where I'm going with this. I was on the dog walk this morning and I spotted a bag of dog shit that someone had tossed into this long grass. Now, beautiful water meadow on one side, woods, river running down it, and you see a pink rabbit-eared dog shit bag just sat there, and you think, come on. Okay, there's no bins along this boardwalk because no council vehicles getting up there to collect the rubbish. Now, you'd think, given all this beautiful land, all this, this amazing place to walk and be at one with nature, that people would just carry their dog shit bag a little bit further until they find a bin. But no, I find about 4 of them. So I make mental notes of where they are. And on the way back, I am walking back with a big stick because there's one that I have to reach that's out on the reeds, that's just hanging there, that's about to drop in the water and contribute to plastic pollution. So I gather up these bags, and as I wade into one part of it, I lean down and the big nettle sting on my left calf, and I think, the fucker stung me. And there's this part of my old brain that sort of goes, a younger brain that goes, well, fuck off then, nature. If I'm doing this to sort of help keep you pure, then you can do this. And then I start laughing and think, nah, bollocks. This is everything that Marcus Aurelius is writing about. That nettle is here doing its thing. Doesn't matter whether I put a glass biosphere around it and protect it and cherish it like it's, the last nettle leaf on earth, the last plant on earth. The fucker's going to sting me if I get near it. That's what it does. And it got me thinking, okay, that's where he's going with this. So what's my thing? What's my purpose? What's my belonging here? And a big part of this coaching that I'm doing with some of you guys, I've had a number of listeners from the show get in touch and do a pit stop session. It's been amazing. Thank you. Incredibly fulfilling work for me. And we talk about purpose. We look at broader purpose because often that is a major stimulator of inspiration in our work. Bear with me, swigging my brew. And we lose sight of that. We get trapped in that kind of, oh my God, where's the next job coming from? And I've been in that headspace a lot this year, far too much. And I'm trying to get back to thinking, what is the me of 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line that I want to live my life as? Because it's about designing the career, isn't it? Because it's the classic thing. If you don't design the career you want to live, I'm quoting Simon Dixon now from Dixon Baxley, somebody else will design it for you. And that's when we become adrift, disconnected from the magic we felt when we first went to art college. That's my case anyway. Or the first time you picked up a pen and drew and you felt like it had an aspect of you. The external became a yelp of your internal, if you will. So I'm laughing. I'm walking along, rubbing this nettle sting now. 4 bags of dog shit in one hand and a can of Carlsberg, an empty can of Carlsberg. That would later be added to by a can of Relentless. Fucking energy drinks, don't get me started. Sorry, it's quite a profane one today. I'm not angry. I'm just reflecting. I find it quite amusing. But that's the thing. So the reason I'm picking that later is not merely that I want to see a tidy environment. I feel deeply moved to do that. I do feel attuned with my environment. I grew up in quite green spaces in Yorkshire. And I grew up seeing a load of shit in the woods, a load of crisp packets and condoms. And you'll have seen my Your Mum project. If you haven't, head to bentallonwriter.com. There's a little book of flash fiction stories all written around these commonly found items of British litter and street furniture, or artifacts as I call them. I also did an accompanying print. And what's quite funny is to link it all to Marcus Aurelius and Roman Empire. Somebody actually wrote their dissertation for their masters up in Edinburgh on my project, and they were twinning it with artifacts and graffiti in the Roman Empire. So there were doodle dicks etched into walls and chariot wheels where I'd drawn knackered hubcaps that you see propped up at the side of the road or on the motorway barriers. So it all sort of comes full circle, and all of that is a part of purpose. So my picking my litter, drawing those things, because it's an expression of my feeling about the world around me. When I do that stuff, I truly feel like I am following my purpose, like I am magnetized to that stuff. And when I do that stuff, I feel the glow, I feel the invisible hands. That's something that the American writer Joseph Campbell talks about, that sense of flow when you're on the right path, when you feel as if there were invisible hands opening doors, bringing connections into your life, just that awesome feeling of serendipity. So, that's what I'm on about. It's like that nettle's going to sting me. that shouldn't stop me from stepping over it all the same. I shouldn't want to kick that nettle up or uproot it because it stung me. Maybe I'll get a bit of nettle tea at some point. It's kind of a kind of use, isn't it? Kind of meeting with the nettle. I've done that before. Stung my hands trying after watching some guy foraging on BBC News and then trying to do it myself and stinging my fingers. But the point is, we're doing that. We're both doing our thing. We're both contributing to this ecosystem, this life, this world, this part of things that we're in. And that should give us comfort. It certainly gives me comfort. And in these times of anxiety, I try to push myself towards that cause because invariably it's what pulls me out of my own arse when I get deep into the fear and the worrying and the fretting about where the next job's coming from. Whereas if I live as my inner artist and I produce with that feeling and that passion and I move towards the things that illuminate me, I believe that that's also what I pass on, and I think that can open the right doors, and that can take you forward in a way where you are growing, not necessarily in a way where you are living in a fear mindset and scarcity. So just, that's all come from a nettle sting this morning, and I hope that makes some sense. That is my thoughts in this morning's Brew Brain Dump. Would love to know your thoughts on this. How have you been feeling? Have you been suffering? How have you dealt with that? I had Wendy Dignan on the show recently talking about anxiety. I had Emily Hurd on the show, a burnout coach, talking about burnout. I'm going through a series of specific mental health episodes as I wrestle with my own and get myself back to a baseline of optimism despite these troubled times. So, and I would massively recommend Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's mind-blowing stuff. Never intended to be published. His own journals, his own reflections, really quite profound stuff. Anyway, that is enough from me. If you missed the episode with Filmograph last week, fantastic motion graphics, Los Angeles studio creating many, many superb film titles. Go and have a look. That's with Aaron Becker, Troy James Miller and Seth Kleinberg. Seth and Aaron being the founders. Beautiful episode. Got lots coming up. Got Charlotte Bradman, author of The Happy Nomad, living full-time in a camper van and changed her life for the better. We've got that coming up as part of the mental health series, looking at the dynamic between our relationship with money and our mental health. Major determining factor. Ace, have a great day, guys. Thanks again to Illustration X. If you want to get in touch, talk about a coaching program, I've got 3 long-term clients at the moment working on 6-month programs with very specific goals to help them along the way. We check in every other week. It's beautiful. We set framework, we set goals where we're accountable to one another. Brilliant. I love it so much. And the pit stops, got bookings of those coming up now, coming into the autumn, which I truly love. That's an intensive deep dive into your creative makeup to get you realigned with where you need to be, working with passion and be illuminated like I've just talked about. So get in touch. We'll have a no obligation Zoom call. We'll talk through it. If we feel it's a good fit, we can move forward. If we don't, all good. Maybe you could tell a friend for me. Cheers, guys. Have an awesome week. Take care.